What a wild new comic book day. We had some brand new series, Thor and the King in Black. KNULL is finally here, but was he good enough to take the #1 spot for this week's top 10? Keep watching this video to find out and stay tuned. Welcome back everyone, AR Comics here, and today I'm going over my top 10 list for New Comic Book Day, December 2nd, 2020. But before I get into that, if you are new to the channel, I drop weekly comic book content, and if you want to join a community that's dedicated to comic books and raising awareness for mental health, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button down low and the little bell to get notified. Every time I drop new content, you won't regret it. And now, without further ado, let's get started on this week's top 10 list. So to be honest, I thought this New Comic Book Day was fantastic. None of these books were really a letdown. Some of them obviously better than the other ones, but I thoroughly enjoyed pretty much all of these books. But coming in at number 10 today, we've got Batman, Catwoman, #1. This is a brand new series by Tom King. And just because it came in at number 10 doesn't mean I thought it was really bad. I just don't think this issue was for me. As a lot of you know, I'm new to DC and Batman and that entire run. I haven't read anything with Tom King. A lot of people don't like Tom King or his stuff that he did with Batman, and this pertains to pretty much all of his stuff. It talks about stuff that was in the past, pretty much between Catwoman and Batman. They have some Joker things going on as well, but then they show the futuristic stuff, and I didn't really understand most of it that was going on, and that's obviously because I didn't read anything in this series. So in my opinion, if you really like Tom King's run on Batman and you just love everything that he's doing with that series, then this is probably for you. But I can't get really too in-depth with it because I can't really have a real opinion on it because I didn't read anything with Tom King on his Batman run. So for that reason, not that it's coming in at number 10, but I personally don't think I should have picked this one up. And next up, coming in at number 9, we have Champions Outlawed, number 3. I really like this series, but I thought this issue was a bit of a drop-off in my opinion. It's pretty much the same thing as the other two issues. The one thing that I did like is that they had Vivian's character in it a lot more. We got to see her interact with some of the civilians and just showed her as a character. I like how they're developing her, how she's trying to figure herself out. But the rest of the issue is pretty much just the champions trying to figure out what they should be doing. Should they continue being heroes or give themselves up the cradle? Thought it was kind of boring. I felt like I read the same thing over the last couple issues, and honestly I really didn't like how it ended, so if the rest of the story is going to be continuing on with that, I'm not going to spoil it, so we can talk about this in the comments section, but I'm going to give it another issue, and if it's going the way I think it is, I'm going to end up dropping it. So for those reasons, coming in at number 9. And now we have coming in at number 8, we've got Miles Morales Spider-Man, number 21. This is cover A. I don't like this cover A. I don't think it's very nice. It's kind of on the cartoonish, childish side, but it was the only option when I got to the shop, so I settled for it. As far as the issue itself goes, it was alright. I didn't really like this arc at all. I thought it was probably one of the weakest arcs of the entire series, but I thought they did a very good job wrapping it up. I really liked the Ultimate Green Goblin character and Ultimatum. It was very action-packed. There was a lot of stuff happening. They brought in all different characters, and I like what Prowler did to pretty much save the Morales family and everyone in New York. At that rate, I'm not going to spoil anything, but we kind of know that the Ultimate World still does exist, and we're going to revisit that at some point. I think this arc and this issue is just a small hiccup in a very good series. He's doing a great job with it. I love the artwork on it, and I know this next arc is going to be very good. It's kind of up in the air right now. We don't really know which direction they're going, but it's going to be good. Make sure you're reading Miles Morales. And now we have coming in at number 7, we've got a brand new series from Aftershock, Knock 'em Dead, number 1. Before I get into the actual issue, I just have to say I love this cover. I think it's so cool, it's very unique, and the colors just pop on it. On a wall full of comic books, this one really does just stand out. So Aftershock, you did a great job with that. As far as the issue itself goes, I did like it, but I think I really liked it because I read the description prior and I knew the route and the direction that this issue was going. But I think if I just saw it on a wall of comics and I bought it just because of the cover, I don't think I would have liked it as much. So the issue itself is about a stand-up comedian. He's just trying to make a living doing stand-up, day in and day out, and he's pretty much a failure at it. And he just keeps working at it, and then a tragic accident happens, and everything changes. But you don't really learn anything, nothing really happens. But then there's also an after page. Right at the very end, there's a small little section of writing. So if you did buy this and you read this and you kind of were like, I didn't like this, I didn't think it was that good, I don't really know what's happening, read that last page. It gives pretty much an in-depth, tiny little description of the way that they're going with this series, and they did a great job with it. And that little tiny section of writing alone is going to make me get this second issue, because I'm really looking forward to where they're going with this. Give it a shot if you can find it. It's going to be very cool. And up next, we've got Black Widow number 4. This is cover C, the nullified variant. I hate this cover. I don't think it's very nice. There was no cover A when I got there, and the only other option was that cover B. I think it was the movie variant, and I didn't like that one either. So I went with the null one. But now onto the issue. The issue is very good. I love this series. I think they're doing an incredible job with it, and this one pretty much picks up exactly where the last one left off. Natasha finally figures out who she actually is. She realizes she's the Black Widow, and now all of these bad guys are coming after her. She's got her group trying to save her, the villains are trying to come to kill her, and it's a whole big thing. She has to make some pretty tough decisions later in the issue, and they had a big thing happen at the very end. I can't say enough good things about this series right now. I'm really enjoying it. I think the artwork is so cool, and this is just a series to me that would have never stood out. I took a shot on it because it was a lighter week, and it was one of my top issues of the week, and it continues to be one of the higher issues. I'm really enjoying this series, and it's only 4 issues deep. Give it a shot if you're ever looking for something new to read. And now we're down to my top 5 issues. Coming in at number 5, we've got Firepower, number 6. This issue continues to be a very good series to me. I'm really enjoying every one of these issues, but the only problem I have, and a lot of other people have as well, it's extremely slow. Some issues are very action-packed with little dialogue, and other issues are very dialogue-heavy, but you still don't really learn anything. This issue we learn a lot more. We learn kind of that newer character, the guy on the front cover. He meets up with Owen and his family, and they discuss a lot of things. We learn a lot of stuff, and there's still some action in it. So in my opinion, this was a very action-packed issue. I think we're going to be reading this series for a very long time. I think Image is anticipating on this to be an extremely long series, because we're 6 issues deep and we're still barely out of just the beginning stages of this series. I think they have a lot of plans for it, and I think they're going to be going in a lot of directions with it. And I like what this one did. They kind of expanded on a lot of things that we didn't know but kind of knew existed, and I think this series is about to take off very soon, and we're going to be looking at this for a long time. So make sure you check out Firepower. It's very good. And next up, coming in at number 4, we've got a brand new series from AWA Upshot. We've got Erratic, number 1 of 5. This is cover B. I really like this issue. I thought they did a very good job with it. I love the artwork. The colors popped and the lines just really stood out. There was a lot of dialogue, and there was a lot of pages to go with that dialogue, but it didn't feel tedious to read. I really enjoyed the overall story of it. The main character's name is Oliver Leaf. Him and his family moved to a brand new school district, and almost the entire issue is just him getting bullied. Other students, his brothers, teachers, everybody is literally just picking on him, and he's just trying to be a shadow at a new school. He wants to be a no one, he doesn't want to fit in, he just wants to be left alone, and no one is leaving him alone. It was kind of funny at times. I really liked the way they just kind of portrayed him and all the other characters. They did a great job showcasing what a high school is like, and especially if you're a new kid. So they did a great job with that, and I really like the way that they ended it. You see, despite him being kind of a nobody and getting picked on, he has superpowers. And not just him, but they're kind of hinting that there's other people like him. And the way that they ended it, this whole story is about to get flipped upside down, and Oliver Leaf is about to be a badass. Make sure you check this issue out. And now we're down to the final 3 issues. Coming in at number 3, we've got Batman 104. This is cover A. And honestly, I don't have a lot to say about this issue. There wasn't a whole lot that happened, almost no action. It was very story driven, but it was very good. They really expanded on the Ghostmaker, what he's all about. It picked up where the last one left off, so you got Harley Quinn, Clown Hunter, and Batman. They got tranquilized by the Ghostmaker, and they're in Arkham Asylum, and they're just kind of talking to each other. But then we got some other characters, and they're really reminiscing on Batman and Ghostmaker's small interactions with each other, and they really just expand on who the Ghostmaker really is and what he's all about. I really like what they did with that, and in my opinion, I do think Ghostmaker is going to be here for a little while. He's a very badass character, and James Tynion IV, as always, but he's doing a great job on everything he's writing. This series is no different. If you've been on the fence with Batman, check it out. It's fantastic. You can jump on in this new arc and you won't be lost. And now we have coming in at number 2 this week, we've got Thor, number 10. This is cover A. And before I get into this issue, can we please talk about how this is an exact Bryan Cranston lookalike on this cover? I don't know if Donny Cates realizes it, but every time I look at this cover, I swear it's just Bryan Cranston looking like Donald Blake. But either way, the issue itself was fantastic too. I really like what they did with it. We got to see Donald Blake now in Asgard, and he is just going off. Everyone is trying to stop him. No one can handle him. He is just tearing everything apart in Asgard, and he pretty much just takes over. I don't want to spoil things and give too much away, but that was pretty much the whole issue. Very, very action-packed. We got a little bit of story and plot happening, but mainly action. Donald Blake is free, and he is just hell-bent on screwing everything up and getting back at everyone that has just left him alone for all of those years. They had a very nice spoiler at the very end. I'm not going to bring it up, but I can't wait to see their interaction too. This series is just taking off. You need to be reading Thor. And now we have coming in at number 1, my top choice of the week, King in Black, number 1. This is cover A. I love this issue. I thought it was very good. Donny Cates and his team did an incredible job with it. I thought it was going to be overhyped. I talked about it in my last video. I didn't think it was going to be as good. I thought it was going to be more on the absolute carnage side with a lot of hype behind it and just not that good of a series. I've got a lot of hopes for this. I thought this issue was so good. KNULL is finally here after all this waiting, after all these issues. He has made it to Earth, and he brought everything with him. The whole team, the Avengers, every superhero that is on Earth is ready for battle, and no one can handle KNULL. He just showed up with his squad and just went in. He's tearing everything up. He's doing his thing. Eddie Brock is there. He's trying to figure things out. He locked up Dylan. I loved it. I'm not spoiling too much for this because you need to read it for yourself. As I said, this is cover A. There is a secret variant too. Instead of the Hulk being there, it's the Thing. But make sure you give this a shot if you were on the fence with it, if you thought, it's probably just going to be overhyped. Take it from me because I thought it was going to be very overhyped, and it definitely wasn't. So this was definitely my top choice of the week, easily number 1. Make sure you read this. So I know I usually talk about an investment issue at the end of my videos, but in my opinion, I don't really think any of these issues are worth the investment, but they are worth it to read. You should be definitely reading most of these series and a lot of these issues because they were all incredible. In my opinion, this is one of the better new comic book days that I personally have had in a while. I really thoroughly enjoyed almost all of these issues, besides the Batman Catwoman number 1, but that's because I haven't read the Tom King run, so my knowledge isn't there. But all these other issues that even though I felt it was slightly a letdown, I still thought they were overall very good, and I still enjoy the series, and I'm going to continue grabbing them. So make sure you read your comics. They're not all about flipping. So thank you for watching my video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and if you don't want to miss out on any of my upcoming content, hit the subscribe button down low and the little bell to get notified every time I drop new content. You won't regret it. And I've got 2 more videos sitting off to the side here with more of my comic book content. Click on one of those and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.